Welcome to D2 Bites, a show where a guest and I serve up quick conversations over snacks. My guest today is multimedia developer Keith Rasmussen,
Thank you for having me.
and we're talking about using technology to bring creative ideas to life. Tell me about some of the immersive technology projects that you've been working on.
A lot of the things that we've been working on recently have been trying to get the immersion of something like VR without the headset. We've had to explore a couple of different things from holographic displays that try to show depth in something more like a television, but that change their perspective depending on which direction that you look at it. We have a 3D tablet that we've developed some stuff for that would allow a salesperson to show off a device that was far too large to send their clients, and it allows them to kind of use a tablet just like you would use any iPad or whatever. This tablet really jumps off the screen, and we're able to give more of a realistic perspective of the size and scale of these things while still including like a wow factor.
Trade shows are still very important for a lot of clients, and they all want to stand out. What are some of the things that you've been working on to support trade shows?
I used to have my own little space in the back of our studio where I had just giant screens and cameras and hand trackers, so that when you put your hand over it, it could actually track the position of your hands. We've had some pretty cool projects with that. Yeah.
What's the application for that?
Similar to how you would use your phone, you can pinch to zoom, but instead, I had something where you could rotate and zoom with your hands, as well as we had one application where we had a video playing of a patient that was giving their testimonial, and then it would give a fact, and to progress further, we actually tracked the hand until it made a circle, so that it felt like the user was creating a portal to kind of be a nice immersive next button. That one was challenging.
It sounds like making a portal on its own is a pretty hefty task, and then you have to make it so that somebody else can make a portal. So you're you're adding the layers. Do you get to see any of your work in the wild?
I didn't get to go to the trade show, but I did get to see it through somebody else's camera, and that was pretty great to see people interacting with it.
Where do you start when you have to troubleshoot something?
So with bugs, I try and just like anything, right? When you're not sure why your computer is being strange, you turn it off and you turn it back on. You look for the problem that would be the easiest to fix first. That way, if it does end up being the cause of your problem, then there you go. You fixed it quickly.
How does your approach change if you're the one who built it versus if it was another team that built it?
Working on something that another team built is like trying to navigate a maze with a candle and a blindfold. Like you go in and you really don't know. There's so many different ways that people can do things, and it's not to say that there's anything wrong with the way some people do them. A lot of the ways I learn new approaches is actually by having to try to disassemble somebody else's work.
How much of what you do is figuring things out on your own versus how much of it is working together with a team?
At the end of the day, I have to figure out how to make it work. So sometimes I feel like I'm part of a team, and I feel like our collaboration is the only way that we're making this happen. And then other times I feel like I'm alone on an island, and this is never going to work. And finding my way back to the team and not wanting to show up empty-handed is a big motivator. That does lead to late nights, but it also leads to getting the job done.
So your typical day isn't always a day in the sense that it's a 9 to 5.
Sometimes I will be laying there with my baby who's not been sleeping as well as I'd like, and I'll be sitting in the rocking chair, and then it'll just click, right? I'll be like, I could do it this way. And then I have to get up, and then I have to write something down. Now I got a baby on my shoulder and I'm trying to type, and she's trying to sleep. And
That's happened to me too, but with writing, like with writing headlines. So that's funny. You never know when inspiration is going to strike. How do you work through the question of build it or buy it when you need a new tool?
I don't like to buy. I would rather make it myself almost every time. That said, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what we do every time. And it also doesn't mean that it's the right decision. It really comes down to understanding upfront what the client wants, and hopefully having that had been articulated. There's a challenge in that sometimes the client will explain what they want, and we will describe it back to them. This is what this tool can do, and it'll be a perfect fit. And then right at the end, they'll be like, this is so good. I really like this, but can't it just do this? And that's when the third party stuff falls apart, because a lot of the times the answer is no, it couldn't do that. And if I needed it to do that, I wouldn't have chosen this product. And I'd rather not do that. I'd rather not take something and make it not do what make it do something that it wasn't necessarily intended to do. So I want to build it. That's what I like to do.
That's it for this week's Bite Size Chat. Catch you next time on D2 Bites. I got these like tortilla chips that are very festive, and I feel like they really meet the mood of the season. And you do mud runs, right? Do you still do those?
You are remembering that correctly. I have not for a while. I like to joke and say that we had a baby. And I was she might have been eating for 2, but I was eating for 3. I do hope to get back to it, but I'll probably wait until my baby is like 2 or 3 before I really start diving into that.
I have a 6-year-old, and I fear that it doesn't get easier.